Hey everyone, welcome to another Real Freaks movie reviews. So when I was in junior high, I saw a movie that sort of rekindled my love of fantasy films. And no, it wasn't the animated Hobbit movie. It was about a young boy from England who lived with his abusive aunt and uncle before he was whisked away to a magical land of wonder and mystery and magic, and no, it wasn't the Harry Potter series. It was the 1987 movie Mio and the Land of Faraway, and dear God, just saying the name of that film gives me chills, because years later I found this movie on DVD and decided to buy it and revisit my childhood, and that was the time that I learned that some things are better left in the rose-tinted memory of your past. It's based on the 1954 book called Mio, My Son, written by Astrid Lindgren, who's also famously known for writing Pippi Longstockings, and if that's not a red flag for what we're in for, I don't know what is. The film fittingly starts in the city of Stockholm, which I'll explain what I mean later, just keep that in mind and we'll call that red flag number 1. And we're introduced to the main character, Bossa. Wait, where's this kid Mio? And later we're introduced to his best friend, Batman. No, I'm not kidding, that's actually Christian Bale, as in...
I'm Batman.
Yes, this was his first feature film, and I'm pretty sure after seeing this movie, he doesn't want to be reminded of that.
Hello, you two.
And we're also introduced to this angelic shopkeeper here as Bossa is buying crackers. Plain crackers, not the salted ones. Yes, he makes a specific point of that.
We stopped off first at the corner store to buy some crackers, plain crackers, not the salty ones.
Bye.
I'll be right back.
Boy, it's a good thing as far as we know this isn't a horror movie.
Never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
These are salted. I specifically told you unsalted crackers. But you never listen, do you?
Yeah, seriously, he doesn't even listen to his own narration. So they go fly a kite with the kid's dad, and this makes Bossa a little bit jealous seeing the kid with his dad. Of course, that's because he doesn't really know what happens to Batman's dad later on. And then when he gets home late, his aunt yells at him for being dirty and sends him to his room. From there, we can hear what the aunt is telling the uncle about the kid.
We're stuck with him now. But that boy is evil, Sixton.
I don't know about evil, but the kid is definitely delusional because, after all, he's having full-on conversations with absolutely nobody.
My father is not a bum. He isn't.
We heard you the first time, kid.
I'll find my father. I'll find him. Then she'll see how fine he is. Just you wait. I'll find him. You'll see.
So naturally, the kid runs away, ends up at the shop with the angelic shopkeeper who asks him,
Would you like an apple?
Yes, please.
remember the story of Snow White, kid?
Thanks.
And turns out the apple is just a bribe to get the kid to take a postcard to the mail,
Would you mail this for me?
which he promptly reads before sending it. You ever heard of privacy, kid? But it turns out that the apple that the woman gave him is made of gold, so when that apple of gold touches the bottle, it makes the kid want to open the bottle, which releases the genie inside.
Aye! 10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck.
A genie which happens to be a giant head with a long scraggly beard.
Who are you?
I am the spirit from the land of Faraway.
The land of Faraway? Is that where you come from?
No, he called himself that for no reason whatsoever.
Please take me with you to the land of Faraway.
I cannot. That is beyond my powers.
So he tells the kid he can't take him because it's beyond his power.
An apple of gold? What is your name?
Bossa!
And you bear in your hand an apple of gold.
But then flips as soon as he sees that the kid has a golden apple. That's like when you ask someone for a favor and they're like, I can't do that for you. I'm gonna need a little motivation.
You are the one I have come to fetch.
So the giant bearded head got the message that was in the letter which the kid just dropped in the mail about 30 seconds ago. That's extremely convenient, and I'm going to call this red flag number 2.
Now grab hold of my beard. Hold on tight.
And the kid gets carried away while hanging on to the big head's hairy bush. If they're flying at that altitude, why isn't this kid frozen? Okay, now they're flying into space. How is this kid not dead? The hell is that? Now they're flying into a black hole? I'm starting to think this kid is lying in a ditch somewhere dying of exposure, and this is the fever dream that he's having as he's just holding on to that last little grip on that mortal coil.
Where are we?
We've reached the land of Faraway.
You know, the Land of Faraway doesn't really look like it has too much land to it.
And that man down there is...
No! Don't tell me! I already know. It's my father!
No, he's the welcoming committee. You think the king would actually, come out to the castle just to greet you? I mean, come on. He's the king, kid. Get a grip.
I was sure I'd find you.
Mio. My Mio.
Mio? But my name is Busser.
Oh, damn, you're not Mio. The big bearded head must have grabbed the wrong kid. Hey, take him back. By the way, I'm calling this red flag number 3.
From now on, you're going to live with me in my castle on Green Meadow Island, in the land of Faraway.
Suddenly a stray horse shows up, and by royal decree, this horse now belongs to the prince.
This is your horse.
I'm starting to think that the king is the real villain here.
I don't know how to ride.
You can do anything you want, as long as you have enough courage in your heart to do it.
And with absolutely no practice whatsoever, the kid's suddenly a master equestrian.
If only Benke could be here.
And of course, his best friend just happens to be there in the Land of Faraway, which just lends more credibility to that whole fever dream idea. Yes, I get they're going for that whole Wizard of Oz thing, but whereas that movie was just a little bit subtle about it, this movie slaps you in the face, puts a gun to your head, forces you to watch the TV and say, "Look, look, it's just like the Wizard of Oz!"
My name's Yum Yum. Yum Yum.
His name is Yum Yum. Christian Bale, the man who goes on to play Batman.
I'm Batman.
Is in a kid's film playing a character named Yum Yum. Oh, dear God.
Miramis is the finest horse in the whole kingdom.
I know, because he used to be my horse, but the king said he's yours now, so...
And Mio takes his new horse to show it off to all the kids in the kingdom.
You're the finest, cleverest horse in the whole wide world.
What a wonderful horse.
Yeah, he knows. Did someone find a warp whistle? No, apparently everybody in this world plays the panpipes. And perfectly, I might add, and again with no practice whatsoever. And for the record, I've tried playing those things. It's not that easy. And I guess there's not a single starving person in this world because... this.
This is the best bread I've ever tasted. We call it bread to satisfy all hunger.
One small bite is enough to fill the stomach of a grown man.
How many did you eat?
4.
Then they get told a story by a whispering well, which for a fantasy film, I gotta admit, this is actually kind of a cute idea.
Once upon a time, there lived a cruel and evil knight. Those children who refused to serve him, he turned into birds, doomed to circle above the dead lake. But one day a king's son went riding through the moonlight, accompanied by a single friend on a beautiful white horse.
However, this well sucks at telling stories. It just ends. No ending, no to be continued, no tune in next week. It just stops. Finish the story!
Where is the Forest of Mysteries?
Why do you ask, Mio?
I want to ride there tonight.
Yeah, I just suddenly got this craving to go riding there with Yum Yum after I heard this story about a prince who goes riding there, at night.
Do you want me to stay here with you instead?
No, Mio.
Red flag number 4.
There is one thing you must know. There is something called the land outside.
The land outside, as opposed to the land inside. Yeah, this place has some really clever names. Mysterious forest called the Forest of Mysteries, a faraway land called the Land of Faraway.
Who lives there?
Kato, the evil knight.
Such odd weather when they say that guy's name.
Guess what I'm going to do tonight? I'm going to ride through the forest of mysteries. Do you want to come too?
Do I want to come too? Of course I do.
So he decides to take Yum Yum. Sorry, I can't take him seriously like that. Yeah. Take him along to this mysterious forest.
It's the longest bridge in the world.
Yeah, but given the size of this world, that's not really saying much. There can't be that many bridges. I mean, technically the bridge could have been about 10 feet long, and it would still be the longest bridge in the world. But I don't know, maybe the architect was compensating for something. And let me guess, this bridge is crossing the ocean of salted waters.
Who lives on the other side?
Kato. The evil knight from the land outside.
Kato.
Seriously, what's with the gust of wind and a bunch of leaves every time they say this guy's name?
Stop that! Stop that!
So as they ride across the bridge, they notice the drawbridge is up, and we get this disturbing visual. Oh dear God, what idiot DP did they hire that thought that was actually a good camera angle? But of course, they harness their inner Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, and they jump the gap.
That was just like...
Then they meet this woman who's been weaving and sewing for years and years, just waiting for him to come along. How convenient.
Let me have your cape, Mio. I've torn it on the briars.
Why does that bird sing like that?
It's the bird of grief, singing for my child, who was taken away.
Who took her away from you? Don't tell me. Don't mention that dreadful name.
Yes, don't say the name. It's inside, you'll get leaves everywhere, and you'll have to explain how you got wind indoors, and it'd just be too weird.
I'm going to the land outside.
Yes, I know.
How can you?
What do you mean, how do I know? Didn't you hear the well talking? Dude, did it seriously take you this long to figure out it was talking about you? How many princes do you think there are in this world? I'm calling this red flag number 5.
Everyone knows.
Everyone?
Yes, the bird of grief knows. So does Nono. And Yeri and all his brothers and sisters.
And this coffee cup knows. And this pen. And this hat. And this sword. And this painting. And this rock.
Mio, your cape. The finest fabric I ever wove.
It was made using the same material as the people of Krypton. But they're not around anymore, so... Yeah, and don't ask where I got the material either.
And so, we set off for the land outside.
Point of fact, in case you hadn't noticed, you're already outside.
Kato's castle.
You should have a sword.
Yes.
Wait, you're telling me you decided to go kill this knight without a sword? So you're telling me that I'm more prepared than this kid. What'd you think? You were just gonna get lucky and come across some random guy that could point you in the direction of somebody that just happened to have a sword, that just happened to be able to kill Kato? I mean, come on.
Don't hurt.
Oh look, they find this random starving man in a cave and give him some food.
We brought you some bread.
It's bread.
Boy, you're quick, huh?
Why have you come here?
We've come to fight the evil knight Kato.
Okay, there's that odd weather again. I mean, seriously, like, do you ever think that sailors in this world, they get caught in a doldrum and they have no wind and all they do is just call this guy's name out and they're good? Like, no, I got this. Kato, the evil knight!
Don't trust anyone. Ever. Not even me.
Okay, is that a cliche yet, that whole don't trust anybody, not even me thing? Because it's really getting old.
Mio must have a sword.
Oh wow, what a coincidence. He actually knows somebody that might have a sword that can kill Kato.
Go to the Forger of Swords.
Really, Forger of Swords? You sure they don't have to first go look for the Weaver of Baskets, or the Knitter of Scarves, or the Cobbler of Shoes?
How do I find the Forger of Swords?
Go through the dead forest. Look in the deepest hole. In the blackest of mountains.
Otherwise known as the Cave of Spelunking. But while they were in this old man's cave, it turns out their horse was stolen by Kato's men, and we get this really awkward moment.
Miramis! Miramis!
Don't cry, Mia.
What the hell is Batman doing to this kid's face? I mean, as if the scene on the bridge wasn't bad enough.
Now we're inside the dead forest.
So they get to the dead forest, which I'm surprised isn't actually called something like the Forest of Trees.
It's so quiet and creepy.
One might almost say it's dead quiet.
Seen us. Where can we hide?
And they're seen by Kato's men, forcing them to hide in a tree.
Mia, look, here.
So I guess the dead forest is only mostly dead?
There's a big difference between mostly dead and all dead.
The tree saved us.
Perhaps it hates Kato.
Seriously, you'd think bad guys would know not to mess with trees.
Many of these trees were my friends. A wizard should know better.
Look at that.
The blackest mountain.
So they find this blackest of mountains, which to me, when you get a little closer, actually looks a little more on the gray side.
The deepest hole. In the blackest mountain. That's what Eno said.
Yeah, that was only about 5 minutes ago. And they somehow both get lost, and we get 2 minutes of this.
Yum yum! Yum yum! Yum yum! Meow! Yum yum! Meow!
So they can't find each other because of the echoes, but I guess panpipes are immune to acoustics, so they find each other by, of course, playing that stupid tune. And it sounds like I'm not the only one who finds that tune annoying.
Who is playing in my mountain?
A prince and his companion.
What a clear brow. What clear eyes.
Stranger danger? Seriously, can this film get any more cringeworthy? Why do I get the feeling I shouldn't have asked that?
I've come to ask you for a sword.
Why do you want a sword?
I'm going to fight the evil knight Kato.
Wait, where's the gust of wind and the bunch of leaves? I feel cheated.
Why are you chained to the mountain?
Kato needs me. He needs my swords. For 1,000 years, I've been forging a sword that could cut through the hardest stone.
You know, for a 1,000-year-old blacksmith, he looked good for his age.
Finally, last night, I finished it.
Good timing. If they'd been a day early, they'd have been screwed. Oh, gee, thanks. Just destroyed the one thing that I could use to pass the time while I'm chained to this freaking mountain. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't you use that thing to cut the chains free from the rock so I can get the hell out of here? Dumbass.
Be aware of the iron claw. Nothing can stop the claw.
So they finally reach Kato's castle, and fun fact, that's actually Alien Donan Castle, which was the same location used to film the beginning of Highlander. But it's not that easy to get into, and someone hears them climbing, and they're saved by a reject Alfred Hitchcock special effect. Then all the guards start freaking out, because I guess that bird put them on high alert or something. Then there's this guard who sees something and does nothing. Seriously, what was the point of that? Finally, they get into the castle, and Mio fails his check to search for traps. And they're found by...
Kato.
Wait, how do I know that actor? He looks really familiar. Okay, geez, no need to yell. Yes, this is a younger, but still old as dirt, Christopher Lee, playing Kato, the Evil Knight.
This is the most dangerous sword I've ever seen in my castle. It cannot be used to kill the good and the innocent. I will throw it into the dead lake.
So you have this dangerous sword, most dangerous sword that you've ever seen, and it can't be used to kill the innocent for some reason, and your solution is to throw it out the window. And it's not even really much of a throw, really. It was more like a gentle lob. And apparently this sword is strong enough to cut through stone, but not quite strong enough to cut through branches.
What shall I do with my enemies who have come so far to kill me? Shall I turn their arms into wings and send them out to circle around the dead lake for thousands and thousands of years? Shall I rip out their hearts and replace them with hearts of stone?
Yeah, either of those sound like perfectly viable options. Even better yet, you've got a sword, don't you? Or any of your men around you? They've all got swords, right? Why don't you just use a sword?
I will lock them up in the tower.
Oh god, he's gonna Dr. Evil them to death.
They could get away.
No. I'm going to leave them alone and not actually witness them dying. I'm just going to assume it all went to plan. What?
I have a gun in my room. You give me 5 seconds, I'll get it. I'll come back down here. Boom! I'll blow their brains out.
Scott, you just don't get it, do you?
And the other one, too.
So they're put up in this tower to wait to die. So what do? Of course, they play that damn tune again on those stupid panpipes. And when they're done with that, Mio just randomly puts his cape on inside out, and this happens.
Mio! I know what that is. That's an invisibility cloak. When I put it on inside out, I become invisible.
And apparently that sword has a little bit of trouble cutting through bird talons as well. But see, that's not the biggest problem here. The biggest problem here is a question of weight ratios. See, in order to maintain airspeed velocity, these birds have to beat their wings 42 times a second. Am I right?
It could be carried by an African swallow. Oh, yeah, an African swallow may be, but not a European swallow, that's my point. Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
But somehow these birds are able to deliver this most dangerous sword ever made to Mio.
My sword! Now I can fight Kato. And if I never return, my very last thoughts will be of you and my father.
And in that order, too. Seriously, these two are very quickly reaching Frodo and Sam levels. So Mio uses his most dangerous sword ever made to escape, and seriously, why couldn't he free the blacksmith again? And he uses his cloak of invisibility to sneak past the guards, although sneak isn't exactly the word I would use. I mean, all it would take is one spooked guard to swipe at this ghost carrying a sword, and that's it, this movie's over. One more kid lost in the quest to kill Kato. I'll explain what I mean in a minute. Finally, he finds Kato's chambers, and let's do a little Dungeons & Dragons style role-playing here, shall we? You have a cloak that can make you invisible. You have a sword that can kill your enemy with one swift strike. You find his chambers, walk in, and find him seated with his back to you, stroking a frog with a feather for some reason. Seriously, I have no idea what the hell that's about. Now, what do? I think Batman's friend Ra's al Ghul had the right idea.
You simply walk up behind them and stab them in the heart.
But what does this idiot kid do? He takes off the invisibility cloak and announces himself.
Face me, Kato. Your time has come.
And the winner for Dumbest Hero in a Fantasy Story goes to Mio from the Land of Faraway. Dumbest hero ever. And this leads to the epic climactic fight between Christopher Lee and a kid. No lightsabers this time. And it's even more lame. Yeah, no surprise, it's bad. Kato breaks his sword in half on Mio's sword. Kato breaks a table in half with his sword, causing him to drop it, and for some reason he can't pick it up again. Then he runs away so he can needlessly swing across the room for no apparent reason. Oh wait, it was so he could get to this thing to activate, to reveal this big hole in the wall. And what comes out of that hole? Because the wind and a bunch of leaves! That's where all that stupid weather's been coming from! Then a remote control fireball comes out and stalks Mio and chases him around the room for a bit until Mio finally absorbs it into his sword, which also gets no explanation. So like most other things in this movie, I just don't understand. My god, this fight is dumb! So Kato makes one last plead for his life.
Even if you kill me, another Kato will rule, and another and another.
And Mio pointlessly makes this claim.
I came here to destroy you, and I will. And even if you kill me, another prince will come. And another, and another.
Yeah, I'm calling that red flag number 6. And then Kato is very anticlimactically killed. Wait, what about all the kids that were turned into birds to fly around his castle? No, that would make too much sense. A movie like this can't make any sense. I mean, come on. No, the kids are safe and sound and perfectly fine, and Mio marches them all back home, and they all live happily ever after. But at what cost? So I have an idea here that Mio actually isn't the first Mio. He may not even be the second or third Mio, for that matter. Seriously, think about it. So the angelic shopkeeper at the beginning of the film is actually a spotter for the big bearded head to kidnap kids and drag off to this magical land called Faraway, where they change the kid's name to Mio, which actually means mine, or beautiful cherry, depending on which origin you're looking at, both of which make it very, very wrong, by the way. And the kid is promised that he can live as a prince in this magical land, but only under the condition that he goes on a quest to kill this evil knight, which is very subtly suggested to him by this magical well telling a story that everyone in the kingdom has already heard about a dozen times over, which is why they all have it memorized. And if the kid fails to kill Kato, oh well, they just go back to Stockholm, kidnap another kid, and the whole thing starts all over again. This is a terrible movie. It apparently went through hell to get made. It had a budget of over $50 million. Christopher Lee said that there was a lack of sanitation and the food that they got was uneatable. Of course, that was also probably due to the fact that the Chernobyl disaster actually happened while they were filming in the Ukraine, causing the production to come to a complete halt for about a month, after which all their food actually had to get checked with Geiger counters for radiation poisoning. It was criticized for its poor dubbing. The movie was actually filmed in English and later dubbed into Swedish and Russian. You can actually see a few parts in this movie where the lines just don't quite sync up. Critics described it as unimaginative, unoriginal, with wooden acting, and it's basically a poor man's Tolkien, which is a pretty accurate description given the fact that it stole a lot from Tolkien's work, just with a worse execution. And the movie wasn't even good for the standard of its time. Jesus Christ, the same year we got the Masters of the Universe movie. Meh. The Chipmunks Adventure. Okay. Batteries not included. Not bad. The Brave Little Toaster. Pretty good. And The Princess Bride, which was a simplistic but fantastic film with far more charm and is still loved by fans, including myself, even to this day. Not to mention all the other movies we got that year, like The Lost Boys, Monster Squad, The Gate, Inner Space, Spaceballs, Predator, RoboCop, The Running Man, Steel Dawn, Creepshow 2, House 2, Evil Dead 2, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, and The Witches of Eastwick. Granted, most of those movies weren't exactly kids' films, but that didn't stop me from seeing them, and every one of them was far better quality in terms of story, acting, and just overall production value. Although I'll admit, this movie was better than Yogi Bear and the Magical Flight of the Spruce Goose. Yes, that's a real thing, and yes, I have seen it. But ultimately, this movie made only about $17 million in the box office, which is a financial disaster given the fact that it had an almost $55 million budget. Overall, I'll say this. It's a kids' movie, and it's a decent kids' movie, but I'm talking little kids. If your kids are any more than about 12 or 13, they're probably going to spend most of the movie saying, "What the hell am I watching?" And if you saw this movie as a kid and you decide in your adult years to go back and revisit it, trust me, you'll probably end up saying the same thing. It's just wrong on so many levels. If you like this video, hit the like button, leave me a comment in the comment section, let me know what you thought. Tell me if you've seen this movie, if you remember it, if you saw it as a kid, what you thought of it, what you think of it today. Also, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon to be notified when I got more content coming up. I got a couple more of these movie reviews lined up for later this year. Got also a few more of the Stardust style reactions that I'm doing in the YouTube shorts. Not to mention, we are currently in pre-production for our next short film, Sanguinius, but that's all I'm telling you about that. So thanks again for watching. This movie review's been about 20 years in the making. I've been wanting to do a review of it for so long. Hope you got a good laugh out of it. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. And I'll see y'all next time for another Real Freak Movie Reviews.